Good, good. Hey, sir.
What's happening? How you guys doing? Great to see you. Awesome, awesome. Unfortunately, Joe McMahon is not gonna be able to host the, he's a little under the weather. So he's gonna take one of my future classes. That I was gonna take on his class today. I hope that's okay.
Yeah.
We're happy about it. Yeah. Good to see you. Awesome, awesome. Well, we have a few minutes.
Yeah, we're already.
So.
Under the
that?
Super Bowl weather? Is
Yeah.
that what it is?
So tell me about, how was that experience for you?
I called it.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting that game, man. They got hit hard.
Yeah, it's just, so Philadelphia was the more rounded out team. And all year, that's how they work.
Yeah, they've been a very solid run. Throughout the entire season, and that just showcased yesterday.
Yeah.
But their defensive was solid, big time. I mean, it was super extremely solid. So this is why I believe that they ended up winning. So
Yeah, but that's how they were all year. It's just, I think, like, if you didn't follow them, you didn't know.
Yeah.
But that's what their defense has been.
right, yeah.
They don't really blitz, right? They pressure you with the forefront.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
and
no,
that's
it was
scary
solid.
when they can pressure you.
But you know what's so funny is that exactly happened with the 85 Chicago Bears. If you think about it, they were not strong on their offensive, but they were super solid on their defense. They were super solid. You have the refrigerator. You had Mike Singletary, and you had who was the other? I mean, solid.
Oh, yeah.
defensive lineman. And they just
Yeah,
rushed
safeties playing as linebackers. I mean,
Yeah.
it's insane.
So that's the reason I believe they won the Super Bowl, because again, offense is great, but it's the defense that ultimately will, because you saw it yesterday. How Mahomes was just like all over the place. He kept throwing footballs, got interceptions, got sacked. It was like, wow. I mean, Eagles came in
Prepared.
and super prepared mentally, physically, and emotionally yesterday. Yeah, so I'm happy.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't want the Chiefs. I mean, none of them are my team.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to see the Eagles win.
I wanted Saquon to get his. I feel like everything that happened in New York wasn't the best
Yeah.
way for him to. He's a hard worker.
Right. So, well, now Super Bowl's done.
Exactly.
Now next year's gonna be the Chicago Bears. So, awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Let me see if I have anyone on Zoom. All right, we got, just one person. Awesome. Good. Okay. How's the weather outside? I haven't been out since this morning. It looks a little gloomy out there.
But it's not.
Yeah, not too bad. No rain.
Yeah.
They said Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday?
Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay. During our team meeting. Well, don't let the rain stop you guys from coming. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna be launching Define Your Value, okay? Define Your Value. I think this is one of the most, one of the series, in my opinion, is the proposition that all of us should know how to define, right? Is how do you dissect, how do you break it down, and how do people ultimately use you as the go-to real estate professional, right? And it really boils to this, is really breaking down and defining who you are. People do business with you when they trust you and like you. That's it. Okay, because if they don't trust you, if they don't feel comfortable with you, they're gonna go somewhere else that they feel more comfortable working with it. That's simple. All right, so we're gonna break it down and really just dive deep into the conversation. And I think this is one of many that really the heart and the core of what we do as real estate professionals. All right, so let's see here. Why is this not working? Okay. Let's go with backup. number 2 here. Okay, so as we all know, telemarketing, right? Part of the disclosure is the warning that we have to now as part of our classes, and this is across the board on anything we talk about, we have to now provide this disclaimer. You must comply with the TCPA and any and all federal, state, and local laws, including business to business calls, text, never call text numbers on the do not call list, and do not use any auto dialers or artificial voice or pre-recorded messages without the proper consent. Bless you. General rule, while Keller Williams International has carefully prepared all the materials, we do not guarantee their accuracy or make any express or apply warranties about the information. KWRI may change the materials at any time without notice. These materials may contain samples and exercise meant to illustrate aspects of Keller International financials and growth investment models, including calculations of profit share, contributions and distributions, calculations of agent compensation, evaluation of a market center financial results, agent productivity strategies, and estimates of returns on investments. All right, everyone's clear on this, right?
Yes.
Okay, pretty self-explanatory. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and continue. Negotiate commissions, again, part of the new law regulations from last year in August, right? And all of this new changes when it came to compensation, the MLS removing the commission percentage. Now BRBCs are part of the component, and more so now it's a negotiation when it comes to commissions. Okay, you're new, so you don't know what you don't know, right? But back then, commissions were already stapled and stamped on the MLS, so we knew exactly what our commission structure was going to be. Now we don't, because when you look at the MLS, you're not going to see the compensation. Now you either have to submit it as part of your request or ask questions and see if the seller and the listing agent are willing to give you that information. Most won't, most maybe will give you that information, right?
So when do you know when you signed the?
So you won't know until you get your offer either accepted or when you're going through counters. So you're going to submit your request, right? So the way it works is very simple. When you consult with the buyer, you're going to sit with them and go through the motions of how the process works, right? The reason we're having this conversation is the ABCs of the process to get you to your first home or investment. Part of the process that I will be doing is navigating this, submitting offers, negotiating on your behalf, opening escrow, doing our due diligence, inspections, calling the lender, making sure that the lender is on top of their stuff to get the funding that we need in order for us to close this deal. An appraisal will be done. You'll have an opportunity to do any and all inspections, physical inspections such as roof, tile, foundation, plumbing, electrical, all of the above, right? So part of the process is that request of repairs at the same time, making sure that the loan is going, in the direction we need to go. And in communications, I'll be communicating with you, I'll be communicating with the agent, I'll be communicating with the lender, escrow to make sure everything is just moving along, right? And part of the process when it comes to compensation is we have to sign an agreement with you, right? And that's my duty to you as an agent, helping you navigate the process, right? So there's a lot of legwork that I'll be doing as part of the process. But this is the reason we have you sign an agreement. It's basically like a loyalty agreement, right? I'm going to do for you to help you get your home that you want, and return all I ask that you also go through the process and help me to finish up the process. And if you have any questions as we go along, please, this will be the opportunity to do so. So that's kind of the elements of what we're trying to do is to see the value, right? The value of what we have, so that way you feel comfortable with me that you make the right choice to hire me as your professional. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so commissions again is one of those elements that commissions are not set by law or practice are fully negotiable. This is no commission standards, and price will vary by agents and market conditions. Keller Williams International does not determine commission and plays no role in establishing commissions. Likewise, offers of cooperative compensation are fully negotiable and not required by law. So basically what they're saying is, look, you make that decision of what you guys want to charge, right? Between you and the seller, between you and the buyer. That's your discretion. That's what you want to negotiate, and you're okay with it. And that's where you put the pen to the paper, sign it, and you both in agreement. So if there's a disagreement, right, now they're coming back and saying, well, I don't agree to pay you 2.5%. Well, no, I have a signed agreement here that says otherwise, that you did agree to 2.5%. So that's where a dispute may come, but that's also an ammunition for both of you or for all of you here is to really see, here's the document that you signed that says that you were honoring 2.5%. That's simple. Yes, sir.
Just to make things clear, if I'm working with the buyer and I'm representing the buyer, so this is a conversation between me and the buyer, like the seller and the seller agent don't get to change this or affect my commission with the buyer,
No,
right?
not at all.
As long as I'm in agreement with the party that I'm representing, it doesn't matter, right?
That's right. Yeah. Because remember, let's just kind of role play this.
Yeah.
You and I agree to 3%. Okay. My goal is to try to offset as much of that from your obligation to pay me. Okay, even though you're paying me, my goal is to try to get as much from the seller. If the seller is willing to pay me, then you're covered. But if the seller only pays me 2%, then I'm still obligated to charge the 1% that you're going to compensate me. But everything is negotiable, right? But what if the seller pays me the 3%? Okay, then that offsets you from paying me because I'm collecting the commission from the seller. That's the ultimate goal, right? But let's just say that the seller comes back and says, no, 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 I can't do 3%, but I'll give you 2%. Well, the seller can pay you 2%, and the buyer can pay you for a total of 3%. Does that make sense?
Or they can pay me 2 by 2, 3 by 3, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's all the way how you have it structured.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right, let's continue. Fair housing again is part of the, we do not discriminate anyone as part of your profession. Copyrights, everyone knows that, everything is all trademarked, copyright. All right, so we talked already about spark your career, embrace your job, connect with your market. And now we're going to go into really the nuts and bolts of defining your value. Okay, and I think this is one of the coolest segues of the entire curriculum. Negotiations is the one that I'll be teaching, and I'm going to provide you with some insights on how to maneuver that. Win-win by sellers, win with buyers is also great. Open house, capture leads with open house is another great one. But again, going back to defining your value, okay? And all of us have our own way of how we define our value. So today's agenda, we're going to go through, what matters to buyers and sellers, right? Because that's important, okay? We're going to do a recap and, any ahas that you come from this, and then your value proposition. I'm going to give you some insights on how you can navigate that and really showcase your ability to get more buyers and more sellers to work with you. Define your value proposition, right? That's where we dissect and we break it apart and really show the list of things of what you're going to do different that's going to give you more transactions closed. And from listening to top agents that are closing deals left and right, you'll be surprised. It's not as you think, okay? And it's not like they know everything about real estate, but what they do know is how to connect with people and how to really dive and be a good listener. That's when you're going to start seeing more and more people work with you. And then obviously our daily success. All right, so the value proposition. All right, so your value proposition is a unique, memorable, and persuasive statement that expresses the true value of working with you, okay? That's simple. I would say take a photo of this, write it down, because I think this is very important. Number 2, address the specific and special needs of the buyers and sellers in your market, okay? Number 3, state what you will do for your clients to earn your commission or fee for compensation. And number 4, hold you accountable to high standards. These are your value proposition. If you follow these 4 core values here, I can tell you from personal experience, you're going to close more deals. That's simple. Maybe you're not great at contracts. Maybe you're not great at negotiations. Maybe you're not great of a lot of the process, but if you can at least hit the 4 core of these, I promise you, you're going to see more deals your way. Okay. You have to have a unique way that people will remember you, right? What sets you apart? The minute that they walk into an open house, do you greet them? Do you do eye contact? Do you smile? Do you have a firm handshake? Okay. Are you providing some resources, right? Are you really going into the motions of explaining, thank you so much for coming to the open house. This house is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet on a 75 lot site. The home was built in 1965. The homeowners have done an amazing job of renovating the property about 2.5 years ago. Price to sell. Are you ready to buy this property, right? You can throw little jabs to get people laughing, right? Because laughter is contagious, right? If I smile at you, guess what's going to happen? You're going to smile back, right? So you want to try to mirror those parameters, especially when you're meeting someone for the very first time. Okay? Those are the moments that you know if you are going to sell them on your goods, or they're going to sell themselves on you why they shouldn't be using you. That's simple. And that's very powerful. They'll know instantly if they're going to be working with you or not. So I want to have that conversion where I'm closing those deals with the buyers and the sellers and the investors, because I want them to work with me. Does that make sense? So the power is on you, but it takes a little bit of effort and momentum for you to get to these levels of what your value proposition is. Okay. Addressing the specific and special needs, right? Being a good listener. Well, tell me, if this property doesn't hit all of the bells and whistles, what are you looking for? Tell me more. Write this down. Okay, this is something that my coach told me. Okay, AFTOS. AFORT. Did I say it?
Aptos or aptos?
Hold on. AFTO. I'm sorry, AFTO. AFOTO. AFTO. Okay. AFTO is something that embeds in me all the time. This is something that my mentor almost 30 years ago told me. I didn't know what AFTO is, but he says, write this down. And I wrote it down, and that's resonated with me throughout my career. Okay, AFTOs. Ask for the order. So ask for the order. So take out the O. I apologize. I'm a little off today.
Or the order.
For the order.
Ask for the order. Ask for the order. Okay. Now, Simon, what are you talking about? We're not at a restaurant, not here to ask for their, food to order. I get it. Okay. It's a psychological, and it's just kind of reverse engineering for you to understand the elements. If you want to really show your value proposition, you really have to understand that you have to ask for the order every single time. Because people don't know, one, that you're in real estate. Two, dress like this, I don't know, you could be an executive. Dress like this, you can be part of a magazine, okay, like yourself, yeah? No, not even close, sweetie, not even close, right? But the essence of what I'm saying is this, okay? If you're not asking for business, you're losing opportunities. You're losing opportunities. So start getting into the right-handed mindset, folks, that you gotta ask for the order every single day, 24/7. You meet someone for the first time, you're not gonna talk about real estate, I get it, okay? but you want to break the ice and eventually you want to give your business card. Okay? Because you got to be that curious person that what do you do for a living, right? So what do you do for a living? Okay, now, okay, great. Most likely they're going to say the same thing. Well, what do you do, Simon, for a living? Good question, right? I'm a real estate professional with Keller Williams. Let me give you my business card, right? If I can ever be of service, if you ever need anything from me, okay? If you want to know what the value of your home is, if you're looking to purchase a home, if you want to go through the motions of getting pre-qualified, right? Or anything, you have the resources. You don't have to be the go-to all-to person, right? Meaning you don't need to know everything, but what you need to know is have the right arsenal of tools, right? If it's a title, you got a title guy that's walking right now. Okay? He can help you, Xavier. If it's escrow, we have an escrow officer upstairs, Lisa, that can give you some guidance. If it's a broker question, then you can come talk to me. If it's a business, you can come talk to me. If it's a lender, we got Chris Rivera right here that can give you any updates on what's happening with the lender. Also with coastal office too, we've got some amazing people that are there to help you as well. Okay. State what you will do. Okay. Again, once you build that relationship and they say, yes, I'm going to work with you, then the next step is, what can I do to help, right? Be the local economist and understand your role as a real estate professional. Okay. And once you understand, right? Once you understand, then it's going to be an easier conversation to sell them on your goods and services. And now you just won someone, win them over, and they're going to be working with you. Okay. And the last part of it is holding yourself to high standards, right? When you go on a listing appointment, when you're meeting a client, you know, are you mentally prepared? Are you physically prepared? Are you emotionally prepared? Because remember, real estate is an emotional roller coaster, right? And your job is to hone them and to really secure that they feel comfortable, right? Because it's a very stressful and emotional process for a lot of us. And I've been doing it for a long time and I get pissed off too. You know, when I'm involved as a principal buyer or seller, I get it. Okay. So you have to be able to mold yourself and understand their role, because sometimes agents fall short because they don't know the initial process. Okay. But holding yourself to a high standard is one of the most important components and factors into your real estate career. It doesn't matter if you're new or if you have 35 years of experience. The process is always going to be the same, but your standard should always be top notch. Make sense? All right. Top agents can easily explain what service they will provide to anyone who hires them. Powerful. Powerful. And this is straight out of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. What does this mean to you? What does this resonate? Okay. And people on Zoom too, if you want to share your thoughts on what top agents can easily explain what service they will provide to anyone who hires them. One, you got to be hired, right? Otherwise, you're not going to be able to explain. You got to, there's momentums, right? There's process. Because I meet someone for the first time doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be working with me, or vice versa. Because it may be mutual. Maybe I don't want to work with you, and that's okay. Maybe we're not in alignment. Maybe there's expectations, or maybe it's you're just living in fantasy world. Okay, and I've met people that way, where they want to buy in Beverly Hills, but they have a budget of $800,000. Okay, realistically, right? They believe that they want to live in a certain area, but they don't have the means. Thank you. They don't have the means to do so, right? So top agents can explain that, right? But again, all of us will eventually become top performers, right? The more business that you do, the more you're in the trenches, the more you're out in the field talking to people, the more likelihood you're going to feel comfortable. You're going to feel that you understand the elements. Remember, the process is always going to be the same on your $500,000 client or your $5 million client. The process is the same. The only difference is the level of conversation may be a little bit different, You may have a little bit more sophisticated clients, not so much emotional because they're all about numbers, but the process will always be the same. That's exciting. Because once you understand the process, that's almost 8% of your efforts. Now the 20% is just to win the buyer to use you, win the seller to use you, or the investor to use you. But that can be the most hardest part of it. Process is always going to be the same. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a very, very important statement. Benefits of a value proposition. 1, 2, and 3. Help your clients understand your value and expertise, right? So if I was to ask each and every one of you, well, tell me, what can you provide as an expert? What are you going to say? How are you going to say it? What are you going to say, right? If someone comes to you and says, well, tell me a little bit, do you know the area? Have you done your research? Okay, how long have you been in real estate? What is your real estate company name? Okay, all of these are elements that you have to kind of understand, and it's okay. If you're new, it's okay that you haven't done much production. But what you have to understand is that in order for you and the principal buyer or seller to work, is they have to trust in your ability that you can get them to the finish line. Because if they don't feel that you can get them to the finish line, they're not going to utilize you. That's simple. And I'm being very honest and very transparent because this is the time that we just need to hone in our skill sets. This is where you're going to make all of the mistakes, folks. Okay, make the mistakes here so that way you look like rock stars when you're out in the field. Okay, and it's okay. This is where the bumps and the bruises and the frustrations and the anger is here, and that's great because we're all collaborating. We're all on the same page, but we're all here to win too. Because once you hone in on your skill sets and understand how to maneuver the conversation and get them to move forward with purchasing, move forward with selling, then it's downhill from there. It's the upclimb that is challenging and difficult and frustrating and sometimes overwhelming. But once you get to the tip of that point and now you won them over, then it's pretty much downhill because one, you earn their ability to work with you. And now the ability for you now is to just close them, right? Stay on top of it. Number 2, protect your commissions, right? Well, with all of these changes in real estate, right? One of the key components is, your commission. Now we really have to fight hard for a commission. Where before it was kind of guaranteed. Meaning you would look on the MLS, agents would scroll all the way to the bottom, 2.5%, 3%, boom. So if the buyer wants to submit a commission, or excuse me, an offer, you would have had a better chance of getting your offer considered with a commission because it was already there. Now it's not on the MLS. Now it's a gamble. It's like you're hoping for the best with the benefits that you may get something, maybe nothing. And then how do you maneuver that conversation? If the seller and the listing agent come back and says, well, accept your offer, great, but there is no compensation to you. Oh, no. What do you mean, no compensation? Well, yeah, the seller has the option to pay you or not to pay. Yikes. What do you maneuver then? How do you navigate that conversation? Remember, I said this in our first class, there was 3 elements, right? One is buyer that's cold, warm, and hot. Remember I was talking about that, right? We have to feel the temperature on each and every client, buyers, sellers, investors, because they all have temperature gauges. Some that are ready to buy, that's are hot. Some that are kind of on the fence, those are warm. Someone, I'm looking at it here from now. Those are cold, right? But those colds can be warm and those warms can be hot, right? We just got to push them to get to the motivation. Ask more questions. Tell me more. Tell me more. Tell me why that's important. Can you explain it a little bit more so I understand what our goal and our accomplishment is, right? That leads you to more and more close of the gap to get them to sign off and submit an offer or give you the opportunity to list their homes, okay? Protects your commission again as part of the elements because right now, there's still no guarantee that you're gonna get a commission. But if you show your value proposition, especially to a buyer, right? They're gonna say, well, you know what? Simon worked really hard. So we're gonna pay him for helping us get a dream home. Even if the listing agent doesn't pay or the seller doesn't pay. This is why you have to have a hard conversation from the very beginning. Ask the question, okay, so we're sitting down, tell me what that looks like, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. What do you want to do? Well, I'm looking to buy something. Okay, do you want a single family or do you want a condo, apartment? What do you want? Oh, I want a single family home. Great. Okay. How many bedrooms? How many baths? Okay, I'm looking for a minimum of 3 bedrooms. Do that. Okay, fantastic. Does it have to be a 2-story or can it be a single family? No, a single family is fine as long as it has a garage. Okay. Is it a garage that's attached or a garage that's detached? It doesn't matter to me as long as I have extra space to put all my junk. I said, okay, great. Well, the good thing is most of the houses here have garages, so that's going to be a problem, right? Now, once you go through the motions of explaining your value is the BRBC, the buyer representation agreement, there's language there that says that the buyer is responsible to pay you compensation. So now it's like taking that big pill and trying to swallow it. How am I going to convince a buyer to pay me a commission, right? Because on the paperwork, it says that the buyer is responsible to pay. But also on that form, it illustrated says that if anyone other than the buyer credits you, then that offsets the buyer obligation to pay. So if you know how to sell your value and explain it, there'll be more at ease to sign the contract. Okay, so we want more buyers to sign, and obviously on the flip side, when going on a listing appointment, how do you secure the seller to list with you, right? Well, again, going back to your value proposition. Well, Simon, I've only been in real estate for 2 weeks. So it doesn't matter. You got to think positive. You've got to go in there with the right mindset that you will speak, that the listing will be yours. Even if you walk away without the listing, but in the mindset, thank you. In the mindset, you want to make sure that you have that right mindset, positive, that as soon as I walk out, I have a listing agreement signed because they're going to work with me, right? That's how you protect your commission, right? Because on the list sign, it's golden. You are paid to help a seller sell their home. The challenge where we see a lot of buyer agents is buyers paying you a commission. Okay, that may be a challenge, but the beauty is either party can pay you. Buyer can pay you a percentage, a seller can pay you a percentage, okay, or the buyer can pay you only and not the seller, depending on the scenario and the circumstances. Now, I haven't seen many sellers not pay compensation. I still see a lot of sellers still paying a fair share of 2.5 quarter or 2.5% commission to a buyer agent, okay, which is good. But if you do get a particular seller that doesn't want to pay, like a for sale by owner, how do you do the workaround, right? Well, you gotta either talk to the buyer and see if the buyer is going to pay you, or go find another property that the seller is motivated to pay you a commission. Yes,
Question, sir. So.
Simon. It makes me feel old. Even though I'm old.
Force of habit, sir, man.
I get it. I get it.
Let's say we get a seller, we get a listing. Since it'll be the first, right, there's a coach who's gonna help us through the paperwork, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But, when it comes to the percentage that the seller's gonna pay, so do we usually say 5%, I guess? So 2.5 to the buyer agent and 2.5 to the seller agent? Or it's depends, like.
When you represent the seller? Well, there's nothing on the contract that says that the seller is obligated to pay a buyer's agent. There's nothing in there. The only 2 components of compensation is what you're charging the seller to sell their home. And then the other paragraph says about if you happen to be working with an unrepresented buyer, meaning they don't have representation. And what are you gonna charge to do the additional work? There's nothing that says that the buyer's agent is getting any commission from that.
Okay.
Now, go back a year and a half ago,
No,
they used to have the language of total commission and then what you would pay a cooperating buyer agent's fee. And then there's where you would put a 5% and then 2.5 for a 50-50 commission split.
Okay,
That has been removed.
gotcha.
So now the question is, we're not talking about buyer agent commissions. You're only talking what you're gonna get paid for services rendered of helping them sell their home. Okay? Now the question is, let's say you asked me that question. So you're the seller and you asked me, well, don't I have to pay the seller or the buyer agent? So ask me that question.
Don't I have to pay the buyer agent?
Well, you could, Mrs. Seller, and that's part of the beauty of negotiations. Now, none of that is going to be illustrated or advertised on the MLS any longer, okay? So now a buyer agent has to have an agreement with their buyer client, and then they're going to submit an offer with a request of compensation. Okay, so consider this. Compensation is like a negotiations or request of repairs from the buyer. The buyer's going to be able to go in there and do their due diligence. Okay, meaning they can do all inspections on the property. Then once they complete all the reports, if they're happy with the property, they may not submit a request. But they may also submit a request saying, well, you know what, the house needs a little bit of work and, you know, I want to be able to avoid some of those expenses. As it is, I'm already putting a substantial down payment, closing costs, and just the process of home ownership, right? I need a little bit of help from the seller. So the buyer will put a request saying, hey, can we ask for $8,000 of credit? They're going to submit a request for repairs and then submit it to the listing agent. I'm going to get it. I'm going to see, oh, I'm going to pass it now and have a conversation with the seller and says, Mrs. Seller, thank you so much for the time of sitting here. So we're in the trenches, we're in the process. And, you know, part of the buyer's responsibility is to do a thorough inspection of the property, make sure that they're happy with it, you know? It's like buying a used car, kind of kicking the tires, checking the engine, turning on the car, revving it, you know, maybe going for a little test drive to make sure that all of the components are working in order, right? But because the house is an older home, you know, built in the 60s, you know, it's going to have some problems, right? So the buyer has every right to do their due diligence, right? But on that same token, they can ask for any type of concessions as part of the process. Now, most deals fall apart during this process. Most deals, not all deals, but most deals fall apart because we cannot come to an agreement. The buyer requests, the seller says, no, there was another component and renegotiates, but the buyer feels that it's just too low, they cannot work. So the deal ultimately falls apart. And that's where we see the deal get canceled one escrow. So in theory, we have to kind of work it and make it a win-win. That's why negotiations is volatile in its current position, meaning you got to know how to negotiate to make it a win-win for all parties. And the way you do this is you got to see it from all angles and all perspectives, right? That's how you're going to see the ability to push forward the buyer, pull forward the seller. Because remember, the emotional component to what we see a lot in real estate is that the sellers and the buyers get so in the motions of it, and they just feel like they have to have that strong arm mentality. Well, this is where you need to bring them down to earth and just say, look, that's just part of the process. Don't take it personal, seller. Okay, they're requesting, even if they requested 100,000, doesn't mean you're gonna have to accept it. They're crazy, but doesn't mean that we have to accept it. Let's just kind of see where we're at, okay? This is all part of negotiation. Then the seller feels at ease is because you got their back, you got their best interest, and you're helping them to get to the finish line, okay? That's where all this comes into play. Number 3, build strong and trusted relationship. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? I mean, what can I say? You got to build that trust, okay? So how you approach that will dictate if you're going to work with someone, right? If I come in and you say hi to me, say hi to me. Hey, hi. And I say, what's up, man? Thanks for coming, okay? If you have any questions, let me know. How's that going to be? How's that gonna feel? You gotta make people feel important.
Yeah.
Like if they're the president, if you were to meet the president, how would you react if you were meeting the president? Or anyone that's high official,
How
right?
much your service,
Yeah,
you know, just.
if it's the president, the chief of police, or whoever it is, you gotta treat people with respect, but with dignity as well, but always be professional,
Yeah,
okay? Because you never know, you just never know. I'm gonna share with you a story that happened to me, and to this day, I share it just because, one, my ignorance, okay? My beliefs, and ultimately to share this, that it won't happen to you. Okay, because it can happen to you. But now let me flip it over and let's say that now, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you. What's your name?
David,
David, thank you. How did you hear of the open house?
I saw it on the website.
Awesome. Are you currently looking to purchase in this area?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Well, let me have you sign in. And then once you sign in, I'll have a little pamphlet for you. The house is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet on a 75 lot size, almost built in 1975. And sellers have done an amazing job. They renovated the entire property about a little less than a year ago. And they're ready to move on. So please take a look. And if you have any questions, let me know. How was that now? Eye contact, smile, firm handshake, right? All of the elements of it to really, because I want to show him that I will work for you. Because the whole purpose of doing an open house is what?
impressions.
Well,
Yeah.
lead generation.
Link gen, right? Exactly, your impressions of how people feel about you. But more so, I want to earn your business. I want to earn your business. I want to earn your business. But I won't be able to do it if I have a bad attitude. And if you're happy, and we all have problems, right? We all have problems. But that doesn't take away on doing your job. And it's no one's fault but you. And if you feel that you're not going to give it 100%, then maybe you shouldn't do the open house that day. Maybe you delegate it to someone else. Okay? Because you got to give it 100%. That's the whole purpose of the benefits of your value proposition. It's not rocket science, folks. Not rocket science. All right, so some of the value propositions and examples. Airbnb. Airbnb exists to create a world where anyone can belong anywhere, provide healthy travel that is local, authentic, and diversity inclusive and suitable. Walmart, everyday low prices for a broad range of goods. They're always in stock in convenient geographic location. Slack makes it downright pleasant to work together. Grammarly. Great writing, simplified, composed, bold, clear, mistake-free, written with Grammarly AI, powerful written assistance. QuickBooks. Send invoices in minutes and get paid 2 days faster. State Farm. Here to help. Like a good life. Here to help life go right. I was gonna say like a good neighbor, State Farm is here. So these are some of the components. Everyone knows Walmart, right?
Yeah,
Just like you know, let's just say Nordstrom's, right? Target, right? Costco, Sam's Club, right? Favorite restaurant, whatever that favorite restaurant. Why do you go to these places, right? Well, sometimes because of the experience you get, right? And again, it's just some of the elements of, if you want to be a better writer, right, you can use Grammarly as part of it. If you want to have more stable on your financials, right, then you get like a QuickBooks. State Farm, right? Obviously, we know all State Farms that they're insurance company, right, for automobile, homeowners insurance, investment homes, and all that fun stuff, right? So again, what is the value proposition that people want to be in service with you or your goods in service? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Very simple, right? And what we do is fun too. It's exciting, right? Real estate is fun. Now we're just getting them to the next process, right? Because there's phases in every step of the way when representing a buyer or representing a seller. It's your job. But this is what you need to showcase, okay? This is you. show me what your value is. And that sets you apart from any other agent. Because if I was to interview 2 or 3 listing agents, right? And let's say you were interviewing me as the seller, all 3 of you in a training room, you know, I says, I'm gonna give all of you an opportunity to sell me on why I should choose you, and you, right? And I tell you, I got 2 other or 3 people interviewing. You gotta bring in your A game first and foremost, right? Impressions, right? Will last, right? So what's gonna set you apart? What are you gonna do and say, right? I would be asking a lot of questions. So I'm gonna give you my perspective. If a seller tells me, right, that he or she or they are interviewing more than 1 agent, okay, it's gonna make me a little nervous because I really have to come in with my A game. But more so is, how do you think outside the box, right? So this is what I would do, okay? Well, I appreciate it, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you know, first and foremost, for taking the time to talk to me. Now, I'm just curious, the other 2 agents that you're gonna be interviewing, can you tell me a little bit more? I might know them. And the reason I wanna know is because in my time that I've been doing real estate, I've worked with so many amazing real estate agents, not so good agents as well. So I want to make sure that I provide you with the goods and services and ultimately a platform that you feel comfortable. Basically, you know, it's a resume that I will provide you because again, all real estate agents and all real estate brokerages work different, okay? I'm going to give you what I do and how I approach my business. But at the end of the day, I might know that agent. So what am I doing? I'm asking for information, right? Well, it's John Smith. Okay, I know John Smith. John Smith and I have worked together on many transactions. Or maybe John Smith and I have worked on 1 or 2 deals. Great agent, solid. And he's definitely going to provide you with some insights on how he worked, okay? Which is a little different than me, but the process is always going to be the same. Or John Smith, okay, well, I'm just full transparency with you. You know, I can tell you from personal experience dealing with John Smith is lack of communications. Great agent, but when it comes to follow-ups, I've had trouble trying to connect with them. And it would take sometimes 2 to 3 days to get an answer. And I had to bypass and speak with his transaction coordinator, his assistants, but he was not also in alignment with his TC, and everything was just always falling apart. So I was always trying to put that puzzle together. What does that say about you, right? It says, 1, you're a local agent that works the community, right? Works the area, right? That you know other fellow realtors. Not that you're going to say anything negative, right? Because that's not who we are. Our proposition is to give value, right? But the value is also the resources that you have. And if those resources is you work with other agents in a good way or in a bad way, I think it's vital and important for you to illustrate that to your clients. Because if you don't, and they end up hiring someone else and they regret it, and they find out later that you knew, it's not going to be good on you. They're probably not going to trust you. Okay. And again, we're not here to put negative on any real estate agent. That's not what I'm saying. But if you have some intel, some information, right, that can give the seller a better advantage of how to maneuver this to either use you or not use you, okay, because that can go either or. At least you've done right. You've done good, in my opinion. Okay. So kind of the proposition. Any thoughts, questions regarding this?
I just want to mention something I've seen at family reunion when Tony Robbins made an agent go up on the stage and he'd ask him, why should I work with you? Asking for his value proposition. And the agent went on about how he can make him money, how he can, knows the area, blah, 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 blah. And he asked us all the stage in front of everyone, like, did you buy this? And we all said no. And then he took him and he put his hand on his shoulder and told him, sir, just try to sell me as if you're talking to a family member on really why I should be working with you. And he looked into Tony's eyes and he said, Tony, I would be doing a disservice for you if you don't work with me. And it's something very simple, and we all get touched and we all raised our hands that we want to work with this guy.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't have to be so complicated about, like all these long, slow prices, etc. Or, I can do better research, all these things. Just a simple statement from the heart sometimes is really enough for, because again, you want people to like us, right? You want
Right.
so this is
Yeah, and you're so spot on that, from the little things to the big things, depending on how the conversation goes, okay? Because if they were to ask me, sound me like you're sounding a family member, right? Well, my life depends on it, right? And what I mean by that is, if you show your true entity, you humble yourself, and ultimately, you speak from the heart, okay? It's gonna resonate, it's gonna show. Okay? And all of us are in it to survive, right? Well, this is my job, this is my livelihood, this is my fuel, this is how I support my family. This is how I get my kids, an education. So this is the only thing that I do. So I need to earn your business, right? For the sake of my family. That's a very powerful thing, because in essence, that's it. I'll share with you, the agent that represented you guys, pretty sure you remember the Playboy Mansion.
Yeah.
The listing agent, he was on stage in some real estate event that I went to, and he was talking about how he earned the listing. That there was top agents that were bigger, better than he was. But he went into the conversation is that, I have a family, I need this. This will set me apart, so he went through his personal, and that's the reason he was able to lock in that listing, Playboy Mansion. And I think he sold it for $250 million, something like that. I don't remember, but it just shows you, that you don't have to be the top agent to lock in a listing opportunity. Okay, people will do business when they like you and trust you, not what you know sometimes. Okay, that's it. Connect to your value. KW and the market, center value, fiduciary, market experts, right? Again, nothing spectacular. There's nothing different, right? It's just good old hard work and dedication, right? Again, going back to the big picture, right? What is different that you can bring to the table, and why should I choose you? It's like this. Let me borrow a pen, right? It's like, sell me this pen. What would you do to sell me that pen?
What do you need it for? I know you're looking for a pen. What kind of pen are you looking for? Is it for personal? Is it for your work?
Well, I need a pen that writes and doesn't run out of ink. And I like fine, don't like too big. I like them real fine. But it just needs something that I can use for daily use.
Perfect. So I got a pen here for you that it sounds like is exactly what you're looking for. It has fine ballpoint for you to use. It has ink, and it actually has the where you can actually replace the ink as well. So if in a year or 2 years from now it does ink still like the actual pen, you can replace it with ink, and I can actually help you out with that too. For it.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, asks and benefits.
Yeah, I love it. Tell me this marker.
Simon, I actually don't want to sell you this market. I want to invest with you 15 minutes where we both sit down and listen to your needs. I have a list of 30 questions because, as Ford says, if I had listened to my customers once, I would have created faster horses. I don't want to create faster horses. I really know what you really need. We're going to sit down, answer these 30 questions. I want to make sure I understand what you really need, and then we're going to come up with ideas of what you really want.
Perfect. Okay. So you're all on the same page. Okay, and I'm going to save you from that, so you don't have to do it.
Thank
Okay, but in essence, it's not about selling the pen. It's the value behind the selling of the pen, right? It's asking the questions is, like you said, okay, you said, well, we're gonna sit down and really just go through some bullet points, right? You said, well, tell me a little bit more what you're looking for, right? Because again, I was looking for a specific, right? Not just your typical pen, but something that I can use on a regular basis, right? And it's going back to just sitting down, right? And I'll give you an example. When you're on the listing appointment, you got through the property, right? And now you're sitting either in the kitchen table, in an area that you can see your clients, okay? You don't want to put your clients side by side, because if you're looking here, you're not going to know what this client is saying to the significant other, or vice versa. So you want to put them right in front of you, right? That's number one. Rule number one, put them right in front of you. Rule number two, right? You always want to make sure that all of the decision makers are there. If the decision makers are not going to be there, then you say politely, okay, not a problem, we can always reschedule. I just want to make sure that we all are on the same page. Boom, okay? So in essence, the ability to understand the avenue of your value proposition is your understanding of what their needs and wants are. That's all. That's all. It's what their needs and wants are. Because once you understand their needs and wants, it's easier to sell them on the next and on the next. And before you know it, you're closing that gap, right? To get the seller to get the pen to the paper. Sign here, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Isn't that cool? Right? That's what it boils down to. Or the buyer too as well, guys. Getting the buyer to use you and to sign the agreement so you can help them buy them. Again, some of the values, right? Understand the market, understand your job as a professional, but also understand you have the backing of Keller Williams. Okay? And that's always the biggest reinforcement for you to be able to say, yeah, you know what, you got the backing of Keller Williams, and we have all of the resources here, so you're in good hand. Just like your State Farms, okay? Like when you think of any, if you think of a shoe, what kind of shoe do you think immediately? Say it out. Nike. Why do you think of Nike?
Just for marketing.
Yeah. If you think of an amusement park, what do you think of? Disneyland, right? Okay, yeah. When you think of a movie theater, what do you think of?
Fast and Furious.
Well, I guess I go to it at the terrace.
Okay.
But
I was gonna say AMC and all that, you know, and people on Zoom, you can also participate too if you want. But yeah, you know, when you think of that, right? You also have to be that go-to person when they think about real estate. Are they thinking about you or someone else? Top of mind, right? If you're not constantly reminding people, right?
out of sight, out of mind.
Out of sight, out of mind, right? And that can happen easily. You know, it's happened to me many times where I'm canvassing my neighborhood, and I used to be like always, you know, part of my neighborhood, and then I see a real estate sign pop up. It's like, wait a minute, I just talked to them about 2 weeks ago, and they didn't tell me they wanted to sell, and all of a sudden, right, you got another agent, right? So what happened? You know, you start questioning, what did I do wrong? What could I have done different, right? Well, going back to your philosophy, out of sight, out of mind, I was consistently in their community on a regular basis. That's probably one of the reasons that I missed that opportunity. Okay, so let's go. Oops. All right, so KW and market center value, right? I have access to collective knowledge and experience of nearly 200,000 agents worldwide. That's the beauty of the power of technology that we have, okay? Don't think that you're a solo agent, okay? Because when you think as an individual, you're not gonna be able to hit a lot of sellers and buyers wanting to work with you, right? But if you leverage everything we have, because it's like Simon, I don't have the experience, Simon. I don't have the production. I don't have the sales tracking. Okay. Well, you have Keller Williams, South Bay that does. Remember, we collaborate, we mastermind, we utilize this office for the purpose of sharing. Okay? How many times on our sales meeting do we talk about any listing pitches, buyer meets and wants, right? We do that at Coastal too as well. That's the collaboration because we're sharing things amongst the other agents in our offices. So take advantage and connect with your value, okay? Oh, Mr. Seller, because if you were to ask me, okay, ask me a question or you ask me a question, I know I've been picking on you.
Sure.
Ask me a question and say, well, Simon, how long have you been in real estate?
How long have you been in real estate, son?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I'll be quite honest with you. I just got my license in December, okay? But please, let me reassure you, just because I've had my license, 2 months or a month and a half, doesn't mean I don't know what I'm doing. Let me show you what I have. I have the backing of one of the biggest international real estate companies, Keller Williams, with over 200,000 associates worldwide. My office alone has 500 agents that maybe I have your home already sold, okay? Because people are always constantly looking for homes, okay? I have the support. I have an amazing team leader, an amazing broker. I have an amazing staff. I have a transaction coordinator. I have an amazing lender. I have all of the support that I need. My job is to make you look amazing and your property sell at the best price possible with the least amount of headaches to net you the most. That's what you want, right?
Yeah.
So entrust in my ability, okay?
I've also practiced if someone asks me then, well, there was another KW agent, why should I work with you?
Yeah.
And the first thing that I thought of, we are in connection with 3 offices and we have more than 1,000 agents just working with us. We have more than 3 teams active. We're bigger than all the other offices.
Yeah.
This is also something maybe I can say. I don't know if it's
Remember, how do you win Super Bowls? Is it one individual or a team?
team.
Absolutely. Look what happened yesterday with the Eagles.
Yeah.
Okay? That was pretty impressive. Even though I was rooting for the Eagles, I thought they were going to have a tough time with the Chiefs, but they proved me wrong yesterday. But imagine, right? That was not an individual. That was a team effort. And it was not just the quarterback. It was not the defense. It wasn't the offense. It was the head coach, the defensive head coach, and all of the staff and everyone that got them to the finish line, guys. That's the mindset that you need to have of your value proposition of why they should choose you. That is you as an individual, but the backing of what you have to offer. That's where you're going to get more sellers and more buyers. Make sense? Fiduciary. I can point you to reputable resources for services provided such as handyman, window washers, tax associates, and financial advisors. Let me caution you with this, okay? Not that it's good or bad, but again, you don't want to just give someone, okay? You want to give at least a minimum of 2 or 3 different people so they can make a choice. Because let's just say you're working with someone that's a handyman, right? Oh, this handyman does great work. Great, right? They go and do work and they're not happy, right? Now they're going to start blaming someone. This is what they're going to blame. Me, myself, and I. They're going to blame me for introducing them. But if you at least give them 3 different handymans, they can call, they can interview, they can talk, and pick and choose that at least it covers your bases that you provided additional resources for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what you want to do. Minimum 2, maximum 3. No more than that.
Does that work with like on the lending side too, for like a buyer? Or-
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. That goes on everything, because again, what you're trying to do is build the relationship and the trust with, these type of individuals, right? The resources, right? Because again, I always throw it back at them. Have you tried your financial institute, your Wells Fargo, your Bank of America, your Chase Bank, right? Are you part of a credit union? Maybe you want to talk to your federal credit union or your credit union in general, right? And then I would throw always my in-house lender. I also have an in-house lenders that can also service, right? Depending on the service and the needs and wants will dictate in how I maneuver those conversations. Okay, that's simple. Market expert. I can help you price your home to sell because I am very tuned into the market of moment. Again, part of your daily homework, right? And I wouldn't say homework, but part of your daily routine is lead gen, right? We always talk about lead gen, right? You want to constantly be proactive in engagement, right? It's a contact sport at the end of the day, folks, okay? People on Zoom as well. Every day it's a contact sport, right? The more people you're talking about real estate, the likelihood that you're going to get an appointment, right? It's not, again, rocket science, but you have to be doing the legwork to see results. Okay, because coming into trainings, coming into the offices will not get you results. You got to be out there asking for the order, asking for the order. Okay, out there is your business, out there is your money machine, out there is how you make money. Here is the logistics. Here you come to learn and educate and hold yourself accountable to everything that we provide, but also to work here, to do your offers, to meet with your clients. But out there is where you need to be connecting with people, okay? But market expert also means, are you jumping onto the MLS, looking at the area that you want to farm? Are you doing your search? What are the price points, active, under contract, pending, and sold in the last 90 days? What are you doing to really be the local economist and expert of your neighborhood, right? Because if you were to tell me a specific area, right, I can tell you, what the average price point, depending on the size of the home, I can tell you more or less, okay, those areas are going anywhere from $1 million to $1.3 million. If a house is in really good condition, well, probably 1.4 to 1.6, right? As an example, right? How would that show, right? It shows that you're knowledgeable, that you're on it, but that you're also the local expert on it, right? Think about this in a few, right? If you were a police officer, right? And Torrance, as an example, was your area, right? You're a Torrance police officer. And part of your duties is they break it into different divisions, right? Because you cannot be in South Torrance when an emergency or 911 call meets you in North Torrance because of traffic and concession. So there's officers and patrols all throughout the city. So you got north, you got west, you got east, you got south. So you got police officer. So if a 911 call is needed, that area police officer will be there in a few minutes, right? Well, if it's a serious emergency where, officer involved shooting, then all dispatch, right? All will go into that location, and even the local agency will also be as part of that, right? More of what I'm saying is focus on what area you want to focus on and know to the best of your ability the area, right? How many single family homes have sold in January, right? What's active right now, what's pending, right? Because if someone calls you and says, hey, Simon, I'm looking to buy a house in North Torrance, right? Do you know if anything available? Yeah, you know what? I just came from a broker tour last Thursday. Let me check the MLS. Boom, it's still active. Hey, I got a property for you. It's within your budget. You want to make an appointment to go check it out? I have time today or tomorrow. Thank you.
Someone put something in the
Okay,
chat.
thanks. All right, how do we get in contact with a title rep? Will they give us information on the area we want to know best? Okay, so yeah, good question. The best is always to reach out to the local reps. I mean, we have reps that come on a regular to our offices. So, reach out or ask one of your agents in the office, hey, who's your title rep? And, connect with all title reps are in it to help you because they make money when you make money.
Yeah.
So like here at the Torrance office, we have, Ben Chu as an example, Matt Giggling, who's one of our reps. We have several title rep companies that come in here and they have all of their marketing and expertise of what they do. So yeah, check with your agents or, check in with, you should also have like a wall of all of your affiliates too, that will provide you with the title reps as well. All right.
Simon, with the police example, the police officer.
Mhm.
So how important is for our office to be in the area we're gonna be working in? Like,
It's not
it's not that-
necessarily, no. The beauty is your license is golden in the whole state of California, right? So If you have clients that are up north, you can service them because you're licensed in the state. What I'm saying is, it's super important
Especially.
to, if you're gonna be servicing. Sorry, whatchamacallit?
We're gonna service any area, we should know the numbers, right? And we
Yeah,
should be
absolutely.
knowledgeable
Be an
about
expert in-
Yeah.
it.
Well, even if you're like venturing out with a buyer, let's just say theoretically speaking, with a buyer that's out
Yeah,
in the IE, as an example, the Inland Empire, right? I would do my, a little bit of my due diligence, right, and do a little bit of research, jump on the MLS and just kind of get an idea of what's happening in the area. The power of the tools that we have will give you stats, will give you, projections, estimates and all that fun stuff. So it makes it sound like you know what you're saying out there, right? Now, most of the questions, especially like buyers, either they're seasoned experienced buyers that, every few years they buy a new property, or you may have your first time home buyers that don't know, but they already have a specific area that they want to move into. You can do some local stats, right? Stats of, what's the population? What is the percentage of, homeowners versus renters? What is the job there, right? Is the percentage of jobs stable in that city, right? So all of this information, guess what? You can have as part of your arsenal of tools that you have, and the power of all of the platforms that we have here at Keller Williams.
knowledge is power.
Yeah, knowledge is definitely power. All right, any ahas so far that you guys like to share? Okay, well, let's continue. All right, so what matters to buyers and sellers? Okay, so that's now the next takeaway. All right, so the purpose of real estate for buyers, their goal is to find just the right home at the best price in the right time with the least number of problems. Okay, for a seller, their goal is to net the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of problems. I kind of said it in this way. It's like, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, my number one priority is to get you the highest with the least amount of headaches to net you the most. They just reversed it, but it's the same component, okay? You put it the way you feel comfortable, okay? But at the end, it's really just getting through the process, okay? The process for the buyer, the process for the seller are always going to be the same, ladies and gentlemen, okay? It's always going to be the same. But the way you pitch it will come in a little different from me, from you, and from you, right? But as long as you understand the fundamentals, then you'll get your point across for them to want to work with you, okay? For example, again, just going back for buyers, the goal is to find just the right home, right? That's what they all want, right? They want to be able to buy a home that they see themselves living in, right? On a safe neighborhood with some curb appeal that have all of the amenities that they want, right? But for a seller, it's the same component, but different. Hey, I want you to give me the highest that I can get out of it with the least amount of headaches so I can net the most, so I can either buy my next house, buy my next investment, or retire where I can buy my house outright with no loan, right? So this is again where you have to be a good listener to be able to achieve either party's objectives. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so some of the top 10 service areas for buyer value propositions. Here they go. Okay, 1, needs analysis. Okay, I'll break it down to you in a minute. Qualifications or pre-approval, neighborhood information, home search, make an offer, negotiating for the buyer, vendor coordination, pre-close preparation, closing, and then post-closing. Okay, so this is kind of the initial buyer value proposition. So let's break it down. Okay, for sellers, it's similar but different. Needs analysis, price strategy, property preparation, marketing strategy, receiving an offer, right? Negotiating to sell, sell, pre-close preparation, closing, and post-closing. All right, pretty self-explanatory, right? So what buyers want most from their agents? I think this diagram kind of reflects a little bit. Where do you see most people, most buyers want?
Help to find the right home to purchase.
That's right, yeah. Almost a little over half of the circle, or half of the pie, is help them find the right home. So if you can find the right home, you're 52% likelihood that they're gonna work with you. Okay? That's simple. Every buyer wants to find the right home, right? Because if I find the right home that hits all the bells and whistles for the right price, I'm gonna buy it. Because I like it. It's an impulsive behavior, right? Well, if you can get the motivation, you already know the mindset when you're talking to a buyer, helping them find the right home. That's half of your problem already. Makes sense. What's the next?
Negotiation.
The other one is others.
Yeah.
The others is others, 24%, and we'll explain it a little bit more. The yellow is help buyers negotiate terms of the sale, right? 13%, and then help with price and negotiations, right? That's 11%. So 24% is the other, okay? So the cool thing about this diagram, folks, is this, all right? If you already know that finding the right home is 52%, helping them negotiate terms is already 13%, and then 11% is helping them with the price negotiations. You're only left off with 24%. You're in the golden circle of their feeling that you are the right choice agent. Okay.
What do you think is the top list of the 24%?
Would be like some of the things could be is, you know, the list of vendors as an example. Who do you have that can do a home inspection? Okay, I have 3 companies: Eagle Eye, Elite Home Inspection, and All Inspections, All City Inspection as an example, right? Those are the 3 people, 3 home inspection companies. The other is, you know, the lender, right? Okay, let me get you the right lender, right? That will answer any and all of your questions, right? Because again, the 24% is the miscellaneous thing. Okay, that can be any little thing, but it's still a significant part of this diagram, right? That the buyers will not necessarily pull the trigger, right? If it's not the right home, if you're not a great negotiator, but ultimately trying to get them the best deal, right? And sometimes it's not about the best deal. Is, you know, some people will buy and overpay for a house because that's the house that they want. And I've seen scenarios where buyers are motivated for properties that can be overpriced, but they just want that specific property.
Yeah.
Okay, does that make sense? Now, this is a profile from 2021, so this has probably changed. You know, this is during COVID times, right? I can imagine this may be a little different now, and I think most of it, all of these numbers are definitely going to be higher, where this is still going to be significant, but it's going to be either these that are going to be more of this. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so I'm sorry, what buyers want most? Okay, so factor buyers value when choosing an agent, okay? So 44% is other. 20% is agent is honest and trustworthy. 19% is agent experience. And 17% is reputable of an agent. Think about this for a minute, okay? I want you to resonate this because this is an important diagram. If you really look at the split of the pie here, 44% is miscellaneous, where 20% is honest and trustworthy. Okay? In your opinion, based on this, what's your take on this?
I would find out what the other is. I mean, that's my first thing.
Same thought.
I'm curious what the other.
I can tell you what it is. Yeah.
Is it like visual, like on first impression?
It could be, okay, because again, let's look at it from a different perspective here, right? If honesty and trustworthy is only a percentage, agent experience is 19 and reputation, meaning that you're a very reputable agent is only 17%. The 44 is significant. To me, it just says, you find me the right property, okay?
I don't care if you're.
I can care less if you're honest. I can care less if you have any experience. I can care less if you're reputable. Just, I like this property.
What about communication?
Communication can be also too,
He might
because,
be the best agent in the world, but
Absolutely.
he speaks in a very
yeah,
bad way.
yeah. Because you can be all of this on the right, but if your lack of communication is horrible, that's gonna change everything. And that's maybe part of that 44%. Yeah, yes.
We were in Eric's class last week,
Uh-huh.
making calls.
Yeah.
And, you're really good. He's
Oh, I
really good.
appreciate
And
it.
his first time, he was
Yeah.
really, but one of the guys that I called, he said, I just want you to bring buyers to me. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your name is. Do you have a buyer?
Great results.
Yeah, that's all he wanted.
Yeah.
And so that was the first call.
Okay,
My second call was the same thing. Well, do you have any buyers? And so that is that 44%. They don't care about anything, but bring me a buyer.
That's
And
right.
so when you said that, I was like, wow.
yeah. Yeah, for a lot of consumers, and not to take away from all this, okay?
Yeah,
Because
right.
this is, again, you gotta work out of integrity.
I mean, it's still 1 out of 5.
Absolutely, yes, yes, yes. But you see where the emotional is, if you find the right property, they can care less of the rest because they are honed in on what they want. Yeah. It's pretty scary, but in essence, I think all of us work that way. Because I can deal with someone that is not honest and trustworthy, right? I can deal with that because again, my objective here is getting the property. And I can work with someone that doesn't have experience because I deal with them on a regular basis. I can work with someone that doesn't have the experience. We can help them get to that. And that's okay. So this is what I want you to think, folks. If you're new, it's okay. You're gonna be fine. We all started new. Okay, we were in the same shoe as you were when you started your real estate career. But in essence, I think this is a really powerful diagram, in my opinion. Factor buyer values when choosing an agent. Why is this the same thing? I see something different. 44%.
Next is,
Hold on.
yeah, it's just the
They,
copy.
yeah,
Yeah.
space between the lines.
Yeah, okay. So now let's talk about what sellers want most from their agents.
Other.
It's other. I think it would be to pick up the phone when they call us.
Yeah.
Right?
So 21% say high price home competitively. 20% said help sellers market home to potential buyers. 16% said help sell the home within specific time frame. And then 16% help sellers find ways to fix up home to sell it for more. And then 20%, 27% said other. Wow. So the other is any other stuff that, is relevant to helping them sell their home. So remember, okay, it's gonna be okay. They're not looking at your years of experience. They're not looking at your production. They're not looking at your $50 million producer, okay? But if you can at least get through the motions and articulate a conversation with someone and see their motivation and be that sounding voice, your job is just to wiggle your way into helping them close the deal, folks. That's it. All right, so factor seller consider when choosing an agent. Reputation of an agent is 32, a big number, yeah. Honest, agent is honest and trustworthy, 19%. Agent is friendly or family member, 17%. Look at this, 44% care less of all the other three. Just give me top dollars. I can care less who you are. That's what it says. Okay, and this is again straight out of the National Association of Realtors folks.
Reputation.
Yeah,
How do they check for reputation? This is the question, because I
they
think,
probably do surveys that they have, surveys that they have.
But this is from the seller's point of view, right? So
Yeah.
it's just, you might have high reputation, but if I haven't heard of you,
That's right.
you're not a
Yeah.
reputable agent.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's more just like how much you
Yeah.
are out there. I mean, if you've been knocking on my door every 3 months for the last year,
Right,
for me, you like, okay, like I know you, I've seen your face, I know who you are.
yeah,
testimonials on your listing presentation.
Things like
Exactly.
that.
exactly. All right, so your KW technology and your value proposition starts with your sphere, right? Okay, so all of us have smartphones, right? Now, if, I want to ask you to do something real quick. Open up your phone. Okay, and if you're on Zoom, open up your phones, go to your contacts, and then go all the way down to the bottom of your contacts and tell me how many contacts you have. I'll tell you what I have. How many do you have?
6,238.
You have 6,000?
Yeah,
Contacts?
238, yeah.
Oh, that's a lot of contacts. Okay. What do you have?
75.
75 contacts? That's it?
Yep.
Okay, all right. I got 1,731 contacts on my phone. So you are definitely building your database. You have a lot of people, and a lot of it can be many, right? Family, friends, colleagues, people you've met, people that you have there that you probably never reached, but you have them in your contact just in case. The more, the better, right? But it also utilizes what we have with Command, right? Because all of these contacts, you can now pull them out of your phone and put them into your Command. And now you can start your Command database. Okay, where now you can do smart plans, landing pages, have them look at your website. The power of technology can take you places that you don't know. And let's just say theoretically speaking, right? Let's do the math, all right? So out of your 6,000 contacts that you have, let's just say the 80-20 rule. 20% of that, what would be your number?
1,266.
Okay, so 1,000, a little over 1,000 potential, right? That if you was to scrub that database, that's a little over 1,000 people that may be interested in buying, selling, and investing. Just if you're using the 20% rule. For you, do the math on yours.
Probably like around 15, 16.
Yes, that's still a good momentum. 15 transactions in 1 year, not bad. You know, you're gonna make, you know, at least $250,000 if you were able to do 15 deals here. So don't let, because you have a small database, discourage you. You start building from there, okay? The more people that you're putting into your database, if you're putting them into your smart plans, right? Remember, open houses, if you have an open house from 2 to 4 p.m. or 1 to 4, whatever that is, but you have 25 families that come, and out of those 25 families, maybe 10 are not being represented by an agent, you want to get their name, phone number, and their email so you can put them into your database. Because they may not be the now buyer or now seller, but they may be your future buyer seller. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's where you want to touch them. Okay. So use the technology that you're already paying for. Okay. Any ahas? Does all this make sense? Okay, it's pretty self-explanatory, right? All right, let's go into define your value proposition. You guys okay with your time? You want to take a little break or we're good?
Maybe just a bathroom break.
Okay.
If you want.
All right, let's take a quick 3-minute break. 3-minute break, guys.
Everything is kind of canceled for next week, right? Because everyone will be out of town, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna see if I can get,
So
someone else.
Mondays is canceled next week.
Well, a lot of us are going to family reunion in Las Vegas next week. So, the instructors are probably not, the Ignite will still launch, but their team meeting, I'm gonna see if I can find someone that can, host a team meeting for next Wednesday. Might have, Brandon again teach, or conduct, so I have to reach out. Thank you for the reminder.
Oh, it's not scheduled.
No. Because they do that week.
Gotcha. So when, number 6 then? Or number 7?
On the 24th.
Okay, so just from the 13th to the
Now,
24th.
it will be done at 4.
So, yeah, so the week of the 7th.
Oh, so next week there won't be anything at all.
Except, we're gonna have, probably productivity, we won't have that either, but she'll tell us,
Yeah,
she'll tell us.
but there won't be anything then next week.
Just the meeting,
The Wednesday meeting.
yes.
You think they'll have the role play on Wednesday morning?
I don't know if Eric is coming. And he'll let
I don't
us
think,
know.
Eric is going inside.
I
Yeah.
saw him, I'll ask him.
Yeah. Okay. All right, well, let's go ahead and continue. I only got 30 more minutes. I'll try to get you out before 4 o'clock. All right, define your value proposition. So the steps to define your value proposition, I think we kind of talked a little bit, identify your knowledge, attitude, skills, and beliefs that make you qualified to be the great real estate agent. Number 2, transform the value you provide and the value of your KW in your market center and its benefits for your clients, and then build the value proposition statements. All right, so number 1, steps to identify your knowledge, attitudes, skills, and beliefs that make you qualified to be a great real estate agent. So let's kind of break it down and define what that means, right? I know we shared about knowledge, right? Knowledge is power, absolutely. And the skills, right, is sharpening the skill sets, right, to be the best version of yourself, right? So how do you build the skill sets? Training, right? Training, taking Ignite, taking role plays with Eric Claudio, taking contract classes, right? Jumping on the producer's mindset, right? Listening to YouTube channels of different ways of approaching real estate deals, right? Negotiations, contracts. And then obviously the beliefs, right? To make a great agent, all of those is a package deal that they are getting of you, right? It's like, it's like when you think of a credit card, right? That has all of the perks. What do you think? Does a credit card, what do you guys think is like, has all of the perks, benefits, and has status?
Oh, like the black card or something.
Yeah, yeah. You think about MX, right? The American Express, Titanium, what is it called? Not the platinum, but it's not the black card, but what is it called? Centurion card.
Yeah.
But it's like the black card, right? That's like a status, right? Well, imagine if you were the American Express black card, right? In your real estate business, right? You were the go-to person, right? People, when they think about real estate investments or an area, they know of you, right? That's the showcase that you need to have in order to stand out from any other real estate profession, any other real estate profession. Remember, real estate is a very unique platform, and there's a lot of people that have real estate license. But there's a lot of real estate agents that don't do much real estate, right? It's again, like that 80-20 rule, right? 80% of the agents are not holding the weight. It's the 20% of the agents that are doing the business out there. Now, how do you become part of that 20%, right? Well, production, being in front of people, it's talking to people, it's hitting your farm, hitting your sphere, picking up the phone, doing open houses, hitting expires, hitting your database. All of those elements will get you closer and closer to a deal, right? But if you're not doing at least something, you're not going to see the results from it. So again, make an effort to at least be out there actively asking for the order. That's simple. Transform the values you provide and the values of your KW and your market center, its benefits for your clients, right? Okay, so what am I gonna get from you? What are you gonna give me that I should use you as my buyer of choice, right? What sets you different than any other real estate agent? So ask me that question, guys.
So what makes you different, Simon?
Thank you. Very good questions. Well, what sets me apart is my 20 years of experience. I've seen thousands of real estate transactions, and my goal is to really diffuse any problems that come our way, right? Real estate transactions, we want them to be as smooth as possible, but there's going to be times where it may get a little bit sideways. My job is to realign it and get us back on track. So what you're getting is many years of knowledge and expertise that I know ahead of the time. I try to prevent it so that way we can get to the finish line. That's one. Number two, communications. You can call me any given time. It doesn't matter if it's Monday or Sunday or Saturday, I will pick up my phone. You can text me, you can call me, you can email. Okay, so I'm letting you know that I'm accessible. My communications, I try to respond immediately, but if I'm with family, at an event or at church or something that I'm occupied, I will send you a text message saying, hey, I will check in with you in a little bit. I'll be reaching out, right? That's number two. Number three is, all of the support to get us to what we need to get. I need a village to get me where we need to get you, right? I cannot do it all by myself. This is why I rely on my team. My transaction coordinator, as soon as we open escrow, we will have her reach out to you. She's going to tell you what the next step. Escrow, what the next step. The lender, what the next step is, right? Title, what the next step is, right? I'm going to be orchestrating the whole process. We're going to be in communications, you and I, but you also have the power of my entire team that you can also reach out to them, right? So it's going to be instant communications throughout the entire process till the very end, okay? And again, if any pressing questions you may have for me, please let me know. We'll get them addressed as well, okay? And my goal is obviously part of the benefit is just to find and identify the right home that you feel comfortable with and get you to the finish line. And if that home is not the home, we'll find out, right? After we do our due diligence, we have what's called contingencies to protect you. And if we have to divert and back out of the deal, we have the ability without jeopardizing your deposit. Fair enough? All right. So are you ready to sign up?
Yes.
All right. So again, it's once you understand, and you really know how to navigate the conversation, people are going to be comfortable with you, right? Not saying that I know everything, okay? Because I don't. But I do know how to communicate and really resonate with people because I kind of mold myself to that environment. Okay. Have you seen an octopus, right? When they want to disguise themselves to blend with something, right? They go in and they blend, right? That's you. You got to blend with your buyers, with your sellers, with your investors, right? Because they are relying on your expertise. They're relying on your knowledge, right? Our job is just to maneuver, boom, 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 boom. Close, recording, congratulations, here's the keys to your house. Or Mr. and Mrs. Seller, thank you for relying, thank you for entrusting in me. It's been such an honor working with you. I wish you all the very best on your new adventure and your retirement. We're done, okay? Please refer me any clients. I'm here to serve them, and they're gonna get the same level of, what's the word I was gonna use? Level of service as I did with you, right? Ask for the business, okay? A buyer, ask for the business. If they're gonna be doing a housewarming, right? Make sure you get invited. Because you want them to praise you and say, look, here's my realtor that helped me buy this beautiful home, right? And have a stack of business cards ready to pass, right? Thank you very much. Here's my business card, right? Because I can tell you, you should be able to pick 2 to 3 more clients from that. Okay, it just happens. Remember, you got to be in the skill sets of being involved. Throw yourself in the fire, as I say, right? Throw yourself in there, and I promise you that you're going to see big things come out of it. Okay, build your value proposition statement. Okay, so again, just an ammunition, right? It's like this, you know, I'm a Second Amendment guy, and I apologize if I offend anyone, but I like guns. Okay, I'm an ex-former LA County deputy, so for me is I love weapons, right? So you'll catch me every once in a while debriefing and going to the range so I can practice my proficiency in shooting. Just because that's where I kind of debrief myself, and that's where I just feel where I can focus on other things, not just real estate, right? So part of that value proposition is, you know, what sets you apart? What's your bio look like? What does your resume look like, right? That will say this is the reason you want to work with me, right? It's your proficiency, it's your expertise, it's your knowledge, it's, you know, the 2 weeks you've been in real estate or the 2 years you've been in real estate, it doesn't matter. You put all that into it. Remember, you got to go in there full force with both feet then and just do chaos. And I promise you, you'll see results from it, right? Your return on your investment is your ability to connect with people. That's simple, folks, okay? Yeah, there's a shirt that Gary Keller made. It's called Real Estate as a Context. Okay, what does that mean to you? It means that every day you need to be touching someone and talking about real estate. If you're not talking real estate, you're not going to see the results. I remember many years ago when I was a young real estate agent, you know, that was, I did want to do real estate, but I wanted to learn contracts because that's what I got my real estate license, was to learn contracts, not to buy, not to help sell or sell, but really to know. But then little by little, I was starting to get people wanting to use my services, and it's like, okay, and I'm getting commission for helping people. Okay, I can do this. So that's how I started building my value proposition, because people started knowing that I do real estate as a side hustle, right? And I was helping my friends and my colleagues, and then that just started building momentum into my business, right? That could be you as well. Maybe you don't want to be $100,000 or $100 million producer, but you want to close 5 to 10 deals, and that's great. Okay, congratulations. Everyone has their own setting goals and what that looks like, right? Some of us are more goal oriented, where we want to close more deals, and that's great. The beauty is no one can stop you but yourself. That's it. Okay, there's no ceiling in real estate. Okay, you can make as much money as you want. You can put the brakes, or you can accelerate and do as much as you want. That's the cool thing about real estate. The sky's the limit, and then some. Okay, but it's also up here too, folks. It's a mindset. Okay, it's a mindset. I want you to get excited. I want you to feel your mind. I want you to go out there and just go chaotic. Yeah, because that's what's going to bring people to you, right? In a good way. Okay, don't go crazy, okay? And people don't want to work with you. You get my point, right? But it goes back to your value proposition. Training and get better feedback. Again, I'm not going to go into this too much, you know, but if you are not happy with the instructor, you can always say, you know what, that instructor Simon was no bueno. Part of KW Cares, if you want to be involved. KW Next Gen, Gary Keller teaches this and is part of the 401k. And then your value proposition role playing. All right, so let's go. Ahas to achieve. So has your thinking changed today?
Yes.
Okay, in what way?
Working on our value proposition statement, that's something like I have a homework, like, okay, start
Yeah.
kind of creating it. like-
Yeah.
And I'm sure it'll change, but at least have something to
Right,
start off with.
right. Good. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Two things. The first thing is I should use these stats and data to build my value proposition because
That's
it's what they need and what they're looking for.
Right.
So it should just be like, I want to give this, but this is not what they want. And the second thing is, sorry.
No, go ahead, sorry.
And the second thing, to be honest, what I felt is after you were talking from an agent point of view, I felt your value proposition more. So what I get from you is, as agents, you really want us to grow.
Right.
This is like simply said, you really care about growing the agents.
Right.
So I kind of got the value proposition without you actually explicitly saying it this way, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's something you can feel also.
Yeah. Well, one thing I do, I really love doing what I do, right? And in the many years, I never thought I would be running an office. Never thought about running an office, but I'm here, and any of you can eventually be in my role. That's the beauty. Right now, you're in the trenches doing your business, but maybe down the line, you want to become a leader and work and run and manage a real estate company. The beauty is you can. I never, in my wildest dream, ever thought I'd be running a multi-million-dollar real estate company. But the truth of the matter is, it happened, and it's not because of my good looks. It was my hard work and dedication to this industry that set me apart, that, people believed in me. And that's what makes you, right? People will start knowing more of you, right? And the more you're out there, they're says, you look so familiar. Oh yeah, I'm Simon with Keller Williams. It happens to me. I can tell you, being and doing this for a long time, there's nowhere I can go where I don't come across someone that reaches out to me and says, hey, Simon. Oh, never fails. I always bump into someone that I know.
Not about shooting.
No, not part of that. But yeah, that's what's so awesome about, real estate is you're touching people, you're helping, you're a service provider, right? Getting people to finish the next chapter of their life, selling their home, or newlyweds that, just got married 4 or 5 months and now in the process of buying their homes, a growing family, more children are being part of the family where they need a bigger home. That's where you come in. That's the awesome part of what we do in real estate. What do you feel differently about what was meaningful today? Again, some of the perspective is, what makes me feel good if I was in your shoes sitting down and listening to any of you talk up here is, the little nuggets that you get. Not saying that the whole content of the material is pretty boring, okay? But there's sometimes the story, okay? The story, and there may be a nugget that you pick, and that's what you run for. I remember this was my nugget many moons ago that showed me that as long as I stay focused and consistent with asking for the order, that I'm going to be okay. I will be okay. And I've survived through the ups and the downs of real estate. You'll survive. Be consistent, stay humble, work your tail off, all about integrity, and always ask for the order. Okay. How would you behave would be different going forward, right? Again, remember, eye contact is one of the elements. If you're not one that feels comfortable, well, get in the habit, right? Start with the mirror. Look at yourself in the mirror, and how do you show yourself? How do you reflect on yourself, right? Because a lot of people may be talking, but your eyes are wandering when you're talking, or you're doing all this stuff, right? You're not really focused on the conversation, or vice versa, listening too. And I'll be honest, as I've gotten older, I used to be more honed in on that hearing. Now sometimes I kind of rear off somewhere and I'm somewhere in cloud 9, and then I have to check myself. It's like, okay, I got to get back to reality, right? But the essence is be a good listener, but always look at people, right? And because people, one, it's out of respect, but more so it shows that you are listening to whatever they're needing, right? And that's one of the most valuable things about sales, right? Doesn't matter if it's real estate sales, selling clothing. I mean, this guy looks up to the nine with his nice suit, and you're always, dressed in the nine with your tie and all that stuff. That's who you are, right? In essence, it doesn't matter how you dress, right? But what matters is what is your knowledge, what is your expertise, right? What is it that you can provide to that buyer, to that seller, right? To get them to the other side to have them sign an agreement, right? Because there's agents that are top agents that dress up like me
Yeah.
and still close deals, right? Because it's not really about the essence, right? It depends on the geographical area, like an older couple in their seventies, eighties, they may see it more of that, they want you to be more of a dress person, where someone in their thirties and forties, they may be more lax, right? Know your market, right? Especially South Bay. South Bay is very lax. Go to the west side, go to LA, suit and tie, right? When I used to work back east in the Montebello Woody area, suit and tie. That was just the nature of what we did. This was normal. I have photos of me, running offices, and I was in suit and tie. Hated it. But that was just part of the nature of what I did.
So did Gary Keller, right? Gary, yeah.
Gary Keller's a prime example. He's always on t-shirts.
He used to wear suits. He said in his book, like, I used to wear all these suits and everything, but I was students. I reminded me of something, one time a guy, well dressed, well groomed and very beautiful. He came to Aristotle, and Aristotle looked at him and he said, "Speak so that I can see you."
Yeah.
So doesn't matter what, as you just said, like, to confirm that.
That's right.
Doesn't matter what you're wearing, right? As long as you say the right things.
That's right. Yeah, good point. And then last, what tools, models, or systems will you use, and how will they make you accountable, right? Again, we talked about the phones, and talked about command. There's so many things that you can utilize. The MLS is part of the arsenal of tools, right? It's like a firefighter. A firefighter can't go and put fires if they don't have the right tools, right? They have to have the right tools. Well, as a real estate professional, you also need to have the right tools, right? That's why we have smartphones. That's why we have tablets. That's why I have laptops. And everything that we provide to arm you with the right necessary tools. The Millionaire Real Estate book, and I'm glad you got the book. Have you got the trigger cards yet?
I'm still waiting.
Still waiting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But hopefully, because that's.
Yeah. It should be coming soon. Yeah. No, he's a good listener. He listens. All right, success systems. Okay, so daily success system, we're gonna bypass this. We talked about the do not call. I engage every conversation in the spirit of contribution, and people are happy to be in relationship with me. So I think that kind of resonates. I think this is one that all of the training has at the end. All right, so let's just do a quick 5-minute role playing, okay? So just so that we're all kind of in the motions of it. Let's see if there's anything here that it says contacts. All right, so follow-ups, celebrate your success. And okay, so all right, so let's just do a quick role play. So and we can touch on anything that you want. If you want more like throw objections at me, throw objections, and I'll answer any objections that you want. Or if you want, let's focus on buyers or focus on sellers. This is your opportunity to throw things at me. Okay, I'm not going to put any of you on the spotlight, nor the people on Zoom. But this is again how I sharpen my skill sets is by you throwing questions. So
you can throw things at us, the front lines.
yeah. So anything you guys want me to share or talk?
I do. What happens when you're doing like a code call and they're saying like they have a seller already? How do you just like make that conversation where you could give them the opportunity to interview more agents, if that makes sense?
Who is this?
It's my Tika.
Okay, Mike, thank you. You wanna share that one?
Like, no, I would rather skip because I honestly don't get that.
Yeah, repeat the question one more time. Repeat the question, please.
Oh, yeah. So it was just another example. I was doing cold calling with Eric, and he had gave me a little one, but I just wanted to hear if he had another one. It was basically a seller. She already had stressed to me that she's already working with a agent, and she was saying that like she might be opening to interviewing more agents, but like how do you build that conversation where you're just not trying to, like I don't know how to explain.
No, I think I got it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, no, good point. Okay, so was this, I'm assuming this was over the phone, correct?
Yes, it was over the phone. When we were doing cold calling on Wednesday with Eric.
Okay, so let's you and I role play, okay? I'm you and you're the potential seller. Ring, ring.
Hi, hello.
Hi, how are you? This is Simon over at KW. How's your afternoon?
It's going okay, Simon. How are you?
Awesome, awesome. Thank you. Hey, I noticed that your property became an expired listing. I was wondering if you're going to be interviewing real estate agents.
Honestly, right now, Simon, I already have an agent I'm dealing with right now. He's okay. I wish he was a little bit more interactive a little bit and helping me more with my listing plan, but yeah.
Okay, understood. Do you have a signed agreement with this agent or not yet?
I do.
Oh, you do. Okay, so you signed already an agreement. Is
Yes,
that
correct.
okay? Completely understand. All right. Well, if anything changes, if you're not happy with the end results of working with this, I would love the opportunity to meet with you. I can tell you from the years of experience working with many expired sellers, I've built a good track record in helping them get top dollars with the least amount of headaches to net them the most. So if anything changes, because you already have a signed agreement with this agent, unfortunately, my hands are tied. But if in the future it doesn't work out, I would love the opportunity to maybe just show you what I do differently.
Oh, I like that. So thank you, because I was stuck after she had told me she had another agent. I was just like, oh, okay, well, like I didn't know how to, like not just cut off the conversation because potentially what if her and the agent didn't work out? At least she had my information on hold, but I just didn't know how to reword that. So thank you.
Yeah.
Ask how long the
Yes.
agreement is for?
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
was thinking about.
Yeah, you can definitely ask, and some of the questions here is, can you ask how long that agreement is? Typical, I can tell you, it's either 90 to 6 months. So, yeah, that could have been another conversation. It's like, how long do you have a listing agreement with this agent,
And
right?
how long have you had it for?
Yeah.
Do you mind if I call you on the day it expires and I put it on my calendar and see how it goes on, for example?
Yeah, but what if it doesn't expire?
Yeah, and like, what if it
Because
gets
you
sold?
fix it.
Yeah.
I mean, if it doesn't, so just that another touch, no, it would be stable.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I would do it even if she said.
Yeah.
Well, you gotta be very careful because remember, once a seller signs an agreement with a licensed real estate company, we have to be careful from an ethics compliance.
No, I meant when the listing expired, the contract expires, I meant. Like,
Yeah.
I would call her at the 6 month mark.
Yeah, was this this call, was it, I'm assuming it was an expired, correct?
Yes, it wasn't expired.
Yeah, got it. Yeah, so this is why it's important to ask questions, okay, congratulations. I hope everything goes well with this second, and then I could have asked, why did you choose this agent? That could be
Okay,
a-
so you are able to ask like more questions like that and not be so invasive, if that makes sense.
Correct, yeah. So there's obviously opportunity here to, cultivate a future business client, right? But you can say is, well, congratulations. Gosh, I wish I would have known, had a conversation with you two weeks ago. You know, how long is the listing for? Okay, 6 months, great. And if anything, you know, definitely changes, you know, you decide that it's just not working with you, you know, I'd love the opportunity to, you know, maybe interview with you. I can tell you what I do differently to help clients like your position sell their homes, right? But yeah, you can definitely ask the questions is, you know, well, can I ask why you chose this particular agent? Well, the reason I chose this agent was, you know, he was aggressive and he said something similar to what you said. I said, great. Yeah, you know, those are the agents that you want behind you is the ones that are proactive, the ones that are calling you, right? These are the people that are doing the business on a regular basis. So, all right, well, I appreciate it. You know, if anything changes, love the opportunity. And if you don't mind, maybe I could check in with you in about a month and kind of see where you're at. Yeah, absolutely. And go from there. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
Anything
you
else?
so much. Thank you.
absolutely. Anyone else?
I saw this on a video where a person tries to door knock, and the moment they open the door, the owner goes like this, like, I'm sorry, excuse my language, I'm not gonna use anything, but it's like, you know, another reaction, what the hell are you doing in my door? You know, get the hell out of here, I don't wanna talk to you. And how would you handle this?
Yeah.
How, like, because this is reality, right?
Yeah. Well, so this is what I would suggest you do, okay? One is if you're gonna be prospecting and door knocking, right? I'm gonna door knock, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 2 steps back. I'm gonna distance myself because I don't want anyone to feel, you know, I'm in their zone, right? Even though they may have a door, they may have a gate or something, I still want to distance myself because I want to feel that I'm not a threatening person, especially someone like myself, someone like you. You know, we can look a little bit aggressive. We may not be. We're just going out there and doing our business, right? So I would door knock, right? And then I would take steps back, always have my hands here. Okay, so they can see, not have them back here and all that. It depends if you have marketing stuff, right? But you always want to have your hands here, right? That's a neutral position when you're doing live presentations and when you're talking in front of an audience. You always see people that are good speakers, they always have their hands right here. And when they're talking, they'll do their momentums and their hand gestures, but they always come back to this position, right? So in prospecting, someone that's coming aggressive, very hot and heavy, right, and very upset is, in all due respect, I apologize if, you know, I'm just doing my job, okay? Part of my job is, you know, to prospect. I'm looking, you know, to help homeowners like yourself sell their homes, or I'm looking for people that are thinking about maybe buying in this neighborhood as well. So I'm just doing my job. You know, by all means, I didn't want to upset you, but if it does, I promise you, you know, this is an area that I constantly focus on. I'll put a notation here not to bother you. And leave it at that. I mean, there's really not much you can do when someone is already aggressive, right? So you don't want to put more fuel on that fire, right? Because you could easily said, you know, many things to stir it up, right? You don't want that because guess who gets the call? The team leader, the broker will get the call and they will just say negative things. It's just best. Look, I apologize. You know, I'm just doing my job. I'm prospecting here for buyers and sellers. I completely understand, and I'll put a notation on my journal here or in my head or my phone, you know, to stop any soliciting. That's it. Walk away. Thank you for your time. And leave it at that. Be polite, be professional. Even though they're nasty, and don't break that barrier. You know, just keep it professional. You don't know what they're going through, okay? You just don't know if a life change happened. You know, maybe they had a family member, someone passed, maybe he got bad news. We don't know. But who are we to judge, right? You just take it for what it is and then just reflect. I apologize, not a problem. I'll put that notation not to come back. You move on. That's simple. Okay. All right. Final before we close out. Okay. All right, guys. Well, that concludes our Ignite. I hope today was of value. I do apologize that Joe McMahon was not able. He was under the weather today, and he said, "Simon, I need your help. Can you help?" I said, "Not a problem." That's what we're here we're here when it do go. So when you see me, I think it's at the end of February. I was gonna teach a class, who's gonna be taking, that class on behalf of me, so. All right, well, I appreciate all of you. Thank you very much. Have
I
a
also, sorry, really quick, I have a question. How are we signing in for it? I've been at the meetings, but I haven't been able to like sign in and show that I attended because you said 80% to get our certificate.
Yeah, for you, it's gonna be 100%.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Well, I'll be at all of them. So, I'll see you at the one tomorrow for sure.
I'm kidding. So for the people, we're gonna have to get what do you call it, a sign-in sheet here. I'll ask Rojo to do so. For you and anyone on Zoom, please just email me once you graduate, okay? But we'll keep track as we record all these sessions too.